Good morning, students. Today we will look into History Chapter 9. Next topic, Piers and Temples. We are looking into the making of regional cultures, piers and temples. From the 16th century, people began to migrate in large numbers from the less fertile western Bengal to the forested and marshy areas of southeastern Bengal. So we have seen that how the Bengali language emerged and the piers and temples. This is a development that also happened in Bengal. As they moved eastwards, they cleared forests and brought the land under rice cultivation. Gradually, local communities of fisher folk and shifting cultivators, often tribals, merged with the new communities of peasants. So, the local people were there, those who were fishermen and shifting cultivators. They were tribals. Okay, so these new settlers or the peasants, farmers, and they mingle with this already there the local people. This was the time when Mughal established their control over with their capital in the heart of the eastern delta at Dhaka. So this time when the migration of the peasants to eastern part of Bengal, that time Mughal power they captured Bengal and they established their capital at Dhaka, that is in eastern Bengal. Okay, now officials and functionaries received land and often set up mosques that served as centers for religious transformation in these areas. So, the Mughal emperors' officials were there in Dhaka and the surrounding areas, and they got land as their salary, okay, or the gift from Mughal emperor. And what they used to do, because they had lot of land, so they set up mosques, okay, and it was center, or these mosques played served as centers of religious transformation, okay, on this area. Now the early settlers sought some order and assurance in the unstable conditions of the new settlement. So new settlement, now the land is being given to the officials and also the farmers. They wanted some kinds of assurance on their land and all. So these were provided by community leaders. So the community leaders, those who already were there, and they are sometimes they could be the officials or the chieftains of the villages. Okay, so they also functioned as teachers and adjudicators. So they functioned as teachers or as local judges and were sometimes ascribed with supernatural powers. So the chieftains, the community leaders, they helped the farmers and they advised them, and people referred to these people, means these community leaders, with affection and respect as peers. So who were peers? Peers were these community leaders, those who helped the farmers or the new settlers, okay, and these they believed these community leaders, they had some supernatural powers also, so they called them, means the people called these leaders as peers. Okay, this term included saints of or Sufis and other religious personalities. Okay, so the term pir was used for mostly the Sufi saints, and other religious personalities also were called what, peers. Okay, some people, like for example the colonizers, deified soldiers, Hindu and Buddhist deities, and even animistic spirits. So those the local gods, Buddhist deities or Hindu deities, all these were termed as what? Peers. Okay. Now the cult of peers became very popular, and their shrines can be found everywhere in Bengal. Now this time, during this 16th 17th century, Bengal, if there are anywhere and everywhere you look there, you would see the shrines of these peers. Okay, Bengal also witnessed a temple building spree from the late 15th century, and this period, this 15th century time, Bengal also saw a temple building spree. That means lot of temples were set up, okay, which culminated in the 19th century. So starting from 15th century, 15th to 19th century, lot of temples were built throughout Bengal. We see that we have already seen that temples and other religious structures were often built by individuals or groups who were becoming powerful. Okay, so those who are becoming powerful, the community leaders, the zamindars or the local chieftains, these people used to build up what? The temples. For what? To demonstrate their power and proclaim their piety to the god or goddess whom they worship. Okay, and many of the modest brick and terracotta temples in Bengal were built with the support of several low social groups, okay, such as the Kolu and the Kansari. These were oil presses and bell metal workers, okay. See, mostly in other part of India, northern part of India, and even in South India, the temples were built up by the kings or the high caste people. Here in Bengal, the new temple building spree, it was supported by low social groups. Okay, people on the low strata of the social pyramid, okay, or the community pyramid. So how these people, those who are in the low strata, got this money? That's because of the coming of the European trading companies created new economic opportunities. Many families belonging to these social groups availed of these. So because of the coming of the European trading companies, many of the people from this lower strata of the society got a job opportunity, and they got what they asked. Their social and economic position improved, they got more money, and their social and economic status improved. They they proclaimed their status through the construction of temples. Okay, so when local deities once worshipped in thatched huts in villages gained the recognition of the Brahmanas, their images began to be housed in temples. Now, what happens? The local deities, local gods who were worshipped by the lower strata of the people, got they got temples. Okay, then Brahmanas accepted these deities and these temples. Okay, now the temples began to copy the double roofed, that means dosala, or four roofed, that means tausala structure of the thatched huts. Thatched huts sample that technology or that image these temples also adopted. Okay, so that is what, see, the Bangla Dome we have seen in chapter 5. This led to the evolution of the typical Bengali style in temple architecture. So this was a new Bengali style of temple building. Okay, in the comparatively more complex four roof structure, four triangular roofs placed on the four walls move up to converge on a curved line or a point. So this construction of this four-roofed temple or house, it was like this. Okay, temples were usually built on a square platform. Okay, the interior was relatively plain. Inside it was not that much decoration, but the outer walls of many temples were decorated with paintings, ornamental tiles, or terracotta tablets. So outside was decorated. In some temples, particularly in Vishnupur, in the Bankura district of West Bengal, such decorations reached a high degree of excellence. So these kinds of, see, the decoration, outside decoration is seen in the Vishnupur temple in Bankura district of West Bengal. Now come to next, fish as food. Traditional food habits are generally based on locally available items of food. Bengal is a riverine plain which produces plenty of rice and fish. See, fish habits is according to the geography or the items that is available in the locality. Okay, understandably these two items figure prominently in the menu of even poor Bengalis. Okay, so rice and fish was in the poor Bengalis menu also. Fishing has always been an important occupation, and Bengali literature contains several references to fish. Okay, what's more, terracotta plates on the walls of temples and viharas depict scenes of fish being dressed and taken to the market in baskets. Even on the wall of the temples also there were the picture or the sculpture of fish. Brahmanas were not allowed to eat non-vegetarian food, right? You know, but the popularity of fish in the local diet made the Brahmanical authorities relax this prohibition for the Bengali Brahmanas. Okay, so the Brihadarma Purana, a 13th century Sanskrit text from Bengal, permitted the local Brahmanas to eat certain varieties of fish. Brahmins don't eat non-vegetarian food, fish and meat, but Bengali Brahmins are allowed to eat fish, and there is a book, a scripture, that is Brihadarma Purana, that is a 13th century Sanskrit text. There is this book allowed or permitted the Brahmins to eat fish.